Okay, so I'm seeing now why people don't make a lot of detailed videos on punch needling, okay? Because there's a ton of trial and error. This is my first real practice piece. As you can see, like a lot needs to be filled in and things, and it's not perfect. But between the size of your needles and the fabric that you choose, like this is a very tight knit fabric that I got from Michael's, but as you can see, like this is just kind of a practice, okay? But like there's some torn up holes that I made here because the needle, it was maybe a little bit too big for this particular fabric. Then I moved on and I said, you know what, I have some painter's drop cloth, right? And I make little art dolls out of this all the time. Now this is really a, I would say, let's see if you can see there, it's like kind of loose, right? You can like pull it apart, right? So this one was really good for this big, the largest, I guess, punch needle. I don't even know the numbers, if they have numbers or what. I haven't seen like these are named anything in particular. They could be, but I just haven't seen that. This is a smaller one, but this one works good, I have noticed, for embroidery floss and for whatever size this is. I'm thinking this is a 1 or a 2, possibly. Just inherited yarn and it didn't have numbers on there. So I'm thinking as I keep going through this process, I will learn a lot more. But yeah, so this particular material, I'm sure it's not, you know, what professionals would use, but I have noticed that it's good for embroidery floss and for thicker yarn, like for this one. And this one's obviously not perfect either, but this is the thicker yarn, and it worked pretty good. Just have to make sure that as you punch in all the way to here. And you also, sometimes you have to make sure that you're holding it back here just a little bit as you go through. You want to make sure that it's not pulling back up. So like I said, tons of trial and error. You just have to try different yarns, different fabrics, different size needles. You have to just make sure that your yarn can flow through the needle pretty good. This is a new one that I got. This is the Mina Karen, which a lot of people seem to be using. I got it off of Etsy. Okay. So you're gonna stick that through. Make sure it's going all the way through. It's gonna come out the end. Okay. I'm gonna put that cap back on. Okay, we're gonna try this again. So we're gonna stick the yarn through the loop. Let it hang there, and then we're going to pull and pull straight up and out through the back hole of that needle. Okay, and you take this off. Now this is hanging pretty long. I wouldn't say to have it that long. I would say maybe about there, because this is going to be the first little strand that gets left behind in your fabric. So I'm just going to do it on this fabric because I'm already working on this one and I don't want to put anything in there. So you're going to pop it in. Okay. And then in order to get this type of look going on, you're going to work on this side. So in order to work on this side, you're going to come back here and you're going to pull that extra little piece was sticking out, and you're going to let that trail behind in the back. So this is going to be the front of my project. And then you're going to just drag it and punch it. Drag it and punch it. And you're always going to go in the direction, you're always going to point the open part of the needle in the direction that you're going. And you're not going to lift too high. Okay. I honestly don't like this fabric. I feel like it's too tight for this particular needle, but it works if you just go slow, which I don't like to go slow. Okay, so you punch pretty hard And then if you want to turn directions, I kind of like to turn my whole hoop. And now you see the open hole is now facing towards me. And I'm going to come this direction. You always want to make sure that it's not tight, that this is not tight, that there's enough slack. Otherwise it's pulling on the string and it's hard to punch because it's going to just pull out your string. If you need to correct something, you can just like pull it out and start over again. But with this fabric, you see how tight it is? Those holes are pretty damaged. Now you should be able to scratch it and it goes back together. But in this case, this needle, I think, is just a little too thick for this particular fabric. So it's not coming back together, as you can see. So that's why I like to use this one. And I'll show you with the embroidery floss how quickly I can work on this one. It's gonna come out of the back. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna let that hang a little bit. Now in this case, I want the loopy side to be my front. So as you can see, like the tighter stitches are in the back. And how I'm gonna do that is do it from this side actually. So I am trying to fill in all these little empty spaces here. So if you look on the back here, all those white spots is where I'm gonna try to fill in. And I'm just gonna do this very randomly. And in this case, I don't have to pull the string out. It's just gonna stay back here with all these other loose strings. So I'm gonna poke, pull, poke, pull, poke, pull, poke, drag a little bit, poke, drag a little bit, drag a little bit. Now this one for me is, I like the feel of this fabric. Turning as I turn directions for that open hole to be facing the direction that I'm moving. Can't wait to see the other side and show you. And so like on this messy side, if I want to, I could cut the string and then just go start over here if I wanted to, or I can just kind of like hold it and pull it a little bit if I don't mind wasting that string, I guess. And then just kind of start here and continue to fill it in, right? Okay, so we're gonna pull this a little bit so that it stays in there. You see I'm holding that loop because I'm pulling back on this and I don't want that to pull out of there. And I'm gonna snip it. Okay, so I filled all those in pretty good. And that's about all the string I have left for that anyway. So yep, so that's about as good as it's gonna get for now. Okay, so here's my first finished practice piece. I do see my errors and all that, but I think it's pretty cool for my first one. Let me know if this helped you at all. I hope it did. Here's the back, and you can trim all this up and then you can glue it so that nothing comes out. Okay, and then you can trim it and hang it or make a little, kind of like a coaster, yeah. So we'll see what happens with this, or you can just keep it in here and frame it and put it on the wall. Hope you like it.